Hi everyone, my name's Richard Gill. I'm the author of a UI library called LLM UI, and today I'm going to talk about some ideas for improving ChatGPT's UI. LLMs are a relatively new thing, and with them came a new UI. Here's ChatGPT, you've likely seen it before, and today I want to talk about just one section of their UI where they stream one response from the model. So the first problem with ChatGPT is that it renders multiple characters per frame. Here's what I mean. So I ask it a question, and if you really focus on the characters it's showing you, they turn up on the screen in clumps, 2, 3, 4 characters at once. This is because of how LLMs work, but it feels super unnatural and it's not how a person would type back to you. Here's a similar example, and we can see that LLM UI is smoothing out the output. It actually matches the frame rate of your device and shows you the correct number of tokens to keep the output smooth. The second problem is pauses. Here I ask ChatGPT a question and we can see it's responding, but in a second, it's going to pause, stutter, and then kind of stop for a little bit before restarting. Again, this just feels really unnatural. Here's a similar example and we'll see it pauses now. Let's watch that example again, but this time with LLM UI. And this time there's no pause. So how is that working? It works by something we call throttle functions. Here's an example throttle function, which every frame decides how many characters to render of the LLM output. What's happening here is we're withholding LLM output from the user and keeping a buffer of characters that the user is not yet seeing. The third problem is Markdown syntax. So here, ChatGPT is replying with a bunch of Markdown, and I'll slow it down, and we can see a bunch of characters that users probably shouldn't be seeing. Particularly if you didn't understand Markdown syntax, this is very confusing, and the cursor kind of goes forwards and then backwards as it kind of backtracks. So here's a similar example with LLM UI. And we can see here, it's not showing any of those characters. It prints in a very natural way. None of the Markdown syntax is visible. I'm going to show you that again at a more natural pace, and you can really feel that it just feels super natural, like someone's typing back to you. How does that work? It works by reading ahead. So by not showing all of the LLM output on the screen, LLM UI knows what's coming next, and it can adapt that output to improve the viewing experience for the user. So here's a link, and then some more text following it. So what might happen in an LLM UI is that the throttle function decides it only wants to display 3 visible characters. And what LLM UI does is it uses the extra characters it has, but it's not yet showing to the user, to shorten the link, but make sure it's still valid Markdown. Custom components. So ChatGPT has added a lot of custom components, and I think they're really awesome. Particularly in the last year, a lot more have popped up. And here's an example where it's searching Bing, and they're using a custom component to show us the results, and it looks really nice. Here's an example where ChatGPT ran some Python code and then showed me a plot. Developers are going to want to add these same types of custom components, but for their own applications. And how can they do that? It's pretty tricky, and I'm pretty sure that OpenAI has a dedicated team building this stuff. So let's look at how we could add a button component to our custom application. So here's what the LLM output might look like. You would prompt the LLM and let it know that it can print buttons to the screen by using XML tags like this. And here's how it looks in LLM UI. I'm just going to play this example so you can see how it renders. And it prints out a nice couple of buttons. And when you click them, stuff can happen. This is really the most basic type of example of a custom component, and LLM UI actually has a plugin system so that you can build your own. And I'm pretty excited to see the types of things that people are going to be able to build on top of this. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to check out more examples, visit llm-ui.com. If you're building these types of UI and you have any questions or comments, please email me on the email on screen. Thanks very much for watching.